Hey everybody, it's Dr. Amy Myers. I'm Facebook Living you from Bend, Oregon. I'm at my sister's house out on the porch, so au natural here. I have Javier next to me who's going to be writing down your questions so that I can answer your questions. Before we get into answering your questions, what I wanted to do is first share my story that I had. This, of course, is also in my book, The Thyroid Connection. I think I have a little makeup under my eyes there. My story here with you right now, which is that I had been a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay. Hi, Clarissa. I had been a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay, South America, and came back to the United States. Hey, Nancy. Determined to go to medical school. I had learned about down in Paraguay and taught myself yoga and was very into natural health and thought that I would come back and go to Bastyr, but realized that I really wanted to get an MD. So I chose to go to conventional medical school. I did all my electives in integrative and complementary and alternative medicine, and was actually the president of the complementary and alternative medicine interest group. Hi, Magdalena from Australia. Hi, Jane from North Carolina. It's so fun. And Australia and the UK and Paraguay and Argentina and Spain. So it's been incredible. Anyway, so I and was again president of the alternative and complementary interest group. And I started having panic attacks in insomnia and weight loss, and I wasn't doing anything to lose weight. My hand and my friends really suggested that I go see a doctor, and I actually didn't have the UK. And hi, Belinda from New Zealand. I had been very, very healthy, and so I went to the doctor, and she said, "Oh, this is just stress. You're a typical medical student, second year, thinking of everything that you're learning about." And I said, that is absolutely not the case. I had survived the Peace Corps, which is very stressful. I came back. My mother passed away very unexpectedly from pancreatic cancer. I had never handled any amount of stress in this kind of way, and I demanded a full workup. And she did. And about apologize, but she told me that I had Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disease where my thyroid, which is an underactive thyroid, and mine was overactive, causing all of my hyper symptoms of insomnia and weight loss and the tremor and muscle weakness. And eventually saw an endocrinologist. And if you have Graves, you will know that you have three choices: thyroid surgically removed, or to take medication. And I actually didn't do any of the above to begin with. I knew about, I had searched high and low and couldn't find anything. I didn't know about functional medicine. It was just really in its infancy at that point. And so very, very few. Hey, Rich at home in Austin. Well, I'm in Bend, Oregon, but hope you're enjoying Austin. Hey, Kathy from Australia. And so I tried Chinese medicine at first, and I was taking all these terrible herbs and powders and tinctures, and it was awful, and I wasn't feeling any better. So eventually I, in fact, was feeling worse. I went back to the doctor, and which I begrudgingly did, and eventually started feeling so much worse. I had dry nose and dry mouth, and my skin was cracking, and my hair was falling out, and I had extreme fatigue. So I went back to the doctor and told me that my liver was beginning to fail. Maybe not quite fail, but I was having something called toxic hepatitis, where the medication was destroying my liver. My liver enzymes were very, very elevated. And so I was told I had to go get back in bed and figure out what I wanted to do. I'm going to just jump ahead because the story's kind of long, and again, you can read about it in the book. But it was several weeks. I couldn't go to class. I was worried I was going to have to drop out of medical school. It was an extremely, extremely stressful time. And I knew no other alternative. And I, in fact, reached out to Andrew Weil, and he didn't know anything to do. I didn't know anything about functional medicine. So I ultimately had my thyroid ablated. And that was, a whole nother round of just symptoms of this thyroid hormone dumping into my system and me having panic attacks, yet being exhausted and my hair falling out, and eventually having to go on supplemental thyroid hormone. And of course, I went on Synthroid because I was working with a conventional doctor and knew nothing about. Again, long story short, I eventually found conventional medicine had solved my thyroid problem, that I was 3 times more likely to get another autoimmune disease, and I wanted to figure out why I had this in the first place. And so, hi Julia from New York, um, and from deep South Texas, and so I went on a search after I finished medical school. I became an ER doctor. I was actually finished my residency. I was an ER doctor in the trauma center in Austin, Texas, both the pediatric and the adult center. And eventually one time went to an integrative medicine conference. I said, I got to get back to my roots and why I went to medical school in the first place. And I heard somebody speak about functional medicine for the first time and realized what I'm doing now. I just didn't know how to get there. And so I dove in and took all the courses through the Institute for Functional Medicine and opened my clinic in Austin, Texas. And as you know, wrote the Autoimmune Solution and now the Thyroid Connection. So I'm very passionate about autoimmune diseases and thyroid conditions. And I feel like I really understand the thyroid from both a patient perspective, a conventional medicine perspective, as well as a functional medicine perspective. So, hi, Renee from Tampa, Florida. So here in just a second, we're going to get into, I'm going to answer your questions regarding the thyroid. So if you have a thyroid question, you can go ahead and start to begin to post those below. Before I answer those, has pre-ordered the Thyroid Connection book. We made it up to, we were ranked, I think I was ranked like 3,600 in all books, and made it all the way up to 101 of all books on Amazon last weekend through all your purchases. So I so appreciate that. This week, starting today, as soon as this Facebook Live is over, we are actually doing another incentive to get you guys to buy the Thyroid Connection. And again, I want everybody to pre-order because it's my best chance of reaching the New York Times bestseller. And when I get on the New York Times bestseller list, which cross my fingers, I hope I do again, we get to reach so many more people. We get more press, more information, and my passion is to reach more people. There are 27 million Americans function or condition. So I want to help those people. I don't want people to have to suffer like I did. You as well. Christine, thank you so much for ordering one. I really appreciate it. And Laurie, I'll get to your questions about thyroid disease and what tests need to be done for that. So I see the questions coming in from Katrina. Well, let me finish this. What I want to say is our new promo for this week up through Sunday night, Central Standard Time at midnight. I've partnered with Thrive Market. If you guys don't know about Thrive Market, they're awesome. It's like Costco, Amazon, and Whole Foods all combined in one. I will be honest with you, I am an investor in the company. So I support them and they support me. So this week, the giveaway is going to be a $20 gift card towards a $50 purchase at Thrive Market. So if you're already a Thrive member, you can do that. You need to purchase your book through Barnes & Noble this time. Real hardback books count. And you will get $20 off a purchase of $50 or more. If you are not a Thrive member already, you also get a 1-month free Thrive membership. In addition, you get free shipping on that $50 purchase, and you also get a free bottle of coconut aminos, which we use throughout the book in place of soy sauce. So it's an incredible offer from Thrive Market, and I want to appreciate them and thank you for partnering with me on this. And you will, hey Carla Traeger, how's it going? Hey to Sugar as well. You will get, if you spend, the book right now at Barnes & Noble is on sale for $20.58, I think. So if you purchase one of those books, you will then get $20 off a purchase of $50 or more at Thrive, a free membership, 1-month membership at Thrive, free shipping, and a free coconut aminos will be sent to you as well. So it's a great deal, and don't forget to do that before midnight Central Standard Time on Sunday. Okay, so now I'm jumping into the questions. And the first question I have from Lori is, what is the best test for Graves' disease? Well, in general, for the thyroid, the best tests are a TSH, a free T3, free T4, reverse T3, thyroid antibodies. Typically what we do are TPO and thyroid globulin antibodies. There are some very specific receptor antibodies for Graves, but those typically don't get run. They're very expensive unless your other labs, the TSH, free T3, free T4, come back what we call equivocal, meaning you have all these symptoms, but your labs don't match the diagnosis. So it's really, if you have an elevated T3, an elevated T4, and a low TSH and symptoms, whether you have antibodies or not, but typically, and most of those people actually do have antibodies to TPO, even though people will tell you that that's Hashimoto's. I see that in Graves, and so that's that. Okay. So, Karina, excuse me, why my thyroid slowed down after childbirth? We don't 100% know, but one of the theories behind autoimmunity and certainly thyroid disease, why it's far more common in women than men, has to do with these hormonal shifts during puberty, it often happens to women in childbirth years, and then also near menopause. And it's these fluctuations, particularly in our estrogens, that can affect the thyroid hormone. So when you are pregnant, you actually have a foreign object in your body. You have a little baby, and then you give birth, and your hormones are super high, and then overnight they go crashing down. So that is one of the theories behind why women have a higher rate of thyroid disease, higher rate of autoimmunity, and why more thyroid dysfunction typically comes out after childbirth. One of the things, and this is probably super controversial, and you might even be like, oh, I can't even believe she said that, but something that I do recommend in my clinic that people at least look into is placental encapsulation, which is having your placenta freeze dried and then taking the capsules. And you would need to look into your local person that does that. Usually it's a doula. And you're basically getting all those hormones back in you when you swallow that. And so it prevents these massive swings in hormonal fluctuations. So I've had actually a number of patients do that with autoimmunity and thyroid disease, and they do great afterwards. So, okay, Roberta, I have Hashimoto's. I've been on all sorts of food protocols, elimination, paleo, SIBO, but don't seem to be getting better. What can I do? Well, I guess the question is, Roberta, what do you mean you're not getting better? Do you not feel any better? Is your TPO or your other antibodies not coming down? Or are you on some supplemental thyroid hormone and you just don't feel better? So those are all different things. So in my book, food is a very important part in healing the gut, but I also talk about toxins, infections, and stress. So I think the book would be helpful for you because some people just kind of leave it at diet, and if they're not fixing the gut or doing any of the other things, that could be why, I recently, as I talked on the last time, had a toxic mold exposure. So if you're living in a house with toxic mold, but you went gluten-free or even paleo, you might not notice a difference. But if the difference is that your antibodies are coming down, but you haven't been able to get off your supplemental thyroid hormone, I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. Maybe you got diagnosed late and you need it. If you're still having a lot of symptoms, it may be that you're not on the right dose or the right amount or type of supplemental thyroid hormone. And, my book will walk you through all of that, the thyroid connection. Okay, Jacqueline, is it best to do the Candida program before the thyroid program? In my clinic, honestly, I'm doing those two simultaneously. So, and in this book, The Thyroid Connection, we have a quiz for SIBO and a quiz for Candida as well. And you can incorporate that into doing it all at one time. When you see me as a patient, where obviously they're holding your hand and you have a lot of my staff and the nutritionist and the nurse and everybody. And when you're doing this on your own, you might not have that. So it's really what you feel like you can actually tolerate. So if you feel like you can tackle all that at one time, awesome, please do, because part of fixing the gut is, changing the diet and getting rid of the Candida. Of course, we have my wellness coach, Liz, who gets amazing reviews, and we love Liz. Thanks for being part of my team, Liz. And you can also set up a wellness coaching session with her that can help you through, combining those two programs if you'd like. Okay, so I have Robin. I'm on Synthroid. Is it bad? No, I take Synthroid as well. I also take some Armor on top of that. So there's no one right medication. You just got to figure out what's the right medication for you. And I talk about the differences between the different types of medications, or supplemental thyroid hormone, as I like to call it, because this is a hormone, and if you have damaged your thyroid to the point that you need some supplemental thyroid hormone, I don't want you to think of this as medication. If I didn't take my supplemental thyroid hormone, I would die. I don't have a thyroid. Um, Synthroid is not bad, and I'll quickly go over the difference, but you can read more in my book. Synthroid is synthetic, and it's only T4, and many people don't make the conversion from T4 to T3. So I would get your labs checked like I write about in the book, and I would, read the book and see if maybe if you're still having symptoms, then you might not be on the right dose, or you might want to change supplemental thyroid hormone types. Okay, Nancy Lynn, what are Graves' symptoms? All the things I was talking about at the beginning of this video. So when you have Graves or hyperthyroidism, your thyroid is your metabolism. Everything revs up. So you feel anxious. You might be hungry all the time. You might lose weight. You might feel warm. You might have anxiety. You might have panic attacks. You might have insomnia. Your hair might be falling out. A tremor, weakness. When your thyroid slows down, which is hypothyroidism, or Hashimoto's if you have the autoimmune form, everything slows down. Constipation, depression, weight gain, hair falling out, skin dry, brain fog, low heart rate, low body temperature. So those are things for low thyroid. Carrie, what is the best way to heal leaky gut? I have lots of articles on this and lots of online programs for this as well. And then, of course, I spend a lot of time talking about this in the book. But the thing that I talk about is the 4R program. You want to remove the foods that I discuss in the book. You want to remove the infections like candida, yeast, small bowel bacterial overgrowth. You then want to restore with good probiotics. You want to reinoculate with good probiotics. You want to restore your gut with whatever it's missing, like digestive enzymes or HCl. And then you want to repair it with things like gut healing bone broth, or my little nephew is over here in the window waving at me. So hopefully later he'll come get to make a guest appearance. You want to repair with either gut healing bone broth, collagen, L-glutamine, or we have something called GI repair on my website. Okay, this is Karen, will Hashimoto's cause a positive ANA test? I had 6 positive ANAs and was not sick at the time, nor am I an elderly person. I know that can be a reason for a positive. I do have some symptoms of lupus. So an ANA test is an anti-nuclear antibody test. And it is seen in lupus, but I see it all the time in all kinds of patients. You can have any type of autoimmunity and have a positive ANA. The way that an ANA works is less than 1 to 40 is negative, and then it's a titer. So every time it goes up, it doubles. 1 to 40, 1 to 80, 1 to 160, 320, 640. So it's when it's getting around 320, certainly 640, the 1200s, that we believe that it's real. Many things can cause it to be positive, a false positive, when it's down at the 1 to 40, 1 to 80, even 1 to 160. So, I would certainly chat with your doctor or work with somebody to see if you have symptoms and a positive ANA. That could be something, but having the Hashimoto's could have caused the ANA to be positive. And if it's on the low end of the spectrum, it could be a false positive without, having any symptoms. Susie, are you seeing patients getting Hashimoto's getting into remission? Yeah, so my book, The Autoimmune Solution, I see all kinds of people go into remission with all types of different autoimmune diseases. The problem with Hashimoto's, or thyroid in general, is that because many of the symptoms early on can be very non-specific, because conventional medicine only checks with a TSH, and because conventional medicine typically doesn't check antibodies, and they're using an outdated reference range, many people don't get diagnosed for many years. So often by the time people actually get diagnosed, there has been enough damage to their thyroid that they may still need supplemental thyroid hormone. And again, that's why I call it supplemental thyroid hormone, because I don't want anybody to feel bad. You might be reading, reports online or seeing things of other people that, oh, I got rid of my Hashimoto's and I don't have to take any supplemental thyroid hormone. Yes, that does happen to people when you catch it very early, and they never needed to be on thyroid hormone to begin with, or they were on a very low dose. Frequently we can get them off, and certainly Graves have helped many people, not have the fate that I had, and to have completely normal thyroid functions and not be on any medication at all. So it is possible, but because so many people get diagnosed way down the line, it is difficult if you've had years and years and years of damage to not need to be on some type of supplemental thyroid hormone. However, that does not mean that you don't need to buy the book, because you still need to address the underlying cause of why you got the Hashimoto's in the first place. And if you have Hashimoto's autoimmunity, you're 3 times more likely to get another one. So we still want to change the diet, fix the gut, figure out if toxins were a problem, infections, and deal with your stress. So it is, you don't want to throw your hands up in the air. You definitely still want to get the book and see what the root cause is for you and address that underlying cause. And I see those antibodies come down in people, and I see people reduce their supplemental thyroid hormone all the time. Okay, Trish, I have Hashimoto's and Sjogren's. Can thyroid cause early menopause? So I'm sorry to hear that you have both of those. I think the book would be, either book or both books, the Autoimmune Solution and the Thyroid Connection would be great for you. Can it cause early menopause? Well, you know, if you're someone like myself who had Graves and you had a thyroid ablation and had iodine running through, or radioactive iodine running through your body, it also gets taken up by your ovaries. So yes, there are people that have early menopause. You know, I would more look at that as, are you on the right dose and type of supplemental thyroid hormone? Because you know, if you're having menopausal symptoms, it could be just that you're not on the right dose or the right type. But yeah, all these things are connected. It's not our female hormones and our thyroid hormones. They're all interconnected. So certainly, and you could even have potentially antibodies to your ovaries. And, you know, there's some testing through Cyrex labs that can even screen for that. So we use that Cyrex labs in my clinic. I'm going to take a sip of water here for a quick second. I also want to remind everybody who are just joining now, before I get to a few more questions, that I am also hosting the Thyroid Connection Summit October 24th through the 31st. And that is a free online event for those 7 days. I spent the last several months interviewing, yeah, come on out. My nephew wants to come say hi. Interviewing over 35 experts on the thyroid. So that will be available to you during that time. And then, of course, you can pre-order your Thyroid Connection book now. Oh, we got a couple dogs coming out here, too. So, hey, August, can you come over here and say hello to everybody? And then I'm going to answer a few more questions. Oh, no. Okay, Mommy's not there. Okay, well, I guess Mommy will have to come, too. So you'll get to meet my sister, Aiden, and you will get to meet August. So come on in. Can you say hi? No? Okay. Well, he's such a little ham, and then he doesn't want to be here. So come on in. Hi. We're talking. Do you want to talk? Can you say hello? We're going to talk? Okay, you can sit here with me if you want, and we can talk. Okay, so we have Ginny. I've been following the AIP diet for 5 months. I've seen improvements, but I still have inflammation in the form of joint pain. How long will it to totally heal my gut? Okay, Ginny, so that's a great question. So as I've mentioned before, diet is certainly part of it. But if you have some infections in your gut that you haven't dealt with, like small bowel bacterial overgrowth, or candida, or a parasite, then you might be spinning your wheels. So I would highly advise that you check out the book. I have quizzes for that. I also, I'm updating my website that should be out in the next couple of weeks, and there'll be some quizzes there as well to see if you need a program to help with that. And then again, if you are not addressing the other factors, such as toxins, stress, and infections, then you might just be spinning your wheels. So diet is certainly the first place that I start, but it is not the only place. So if you're only changing the diet and you're not addressing the other factors, then you may not heal your gut. And some people only need to change their diet, but once you've gotten to the place with autoimmunity, probably, I've rarely seen anybody with autoimmunity in my clinic that doesn't have one or more of the other 5 factors or 4 factors, stress, toxins, infections, and gut, with infections like yeast or SIBO that need to be dealt with. So y'all are welcome to hang out. Or
no, we'll say bye-bye. He was just very interested.
Did you want to say bye to everybody? Can you wave bye? Can you wave bye? You know how to wave. It's probably confusing because you've never seen it where this person is also that person and yourself, huh? You're seeing yourself? Yeah. Can you say, my name is August Hatch?
Okay.
All right.
He's shy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us for the guest appearance. Okay, yes. So now we have Melissa. I had a positive ANA, but the doctor said 1 in 3 healthy women test positive, and it doesn't mean anything. Nothing about me is healthy. I have all the symptoms and more. Then he said I have fibromyalgia. Could it be my thyroid? Of course. In fact, you'll want to tune into my thyroid Connection Summit because I interviewed Dr. David Brady, who is the author of The Fibro Fix. We have an entire talk about fibromyalgia and how they're often confused, where plenty of people actually have true fibromyalgia and hypothyroidism, and many people also get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, never had it, and it was just their thyroid in the first place. So this is what I would say. You're always going to know yourself better than your doctor. Even if you come see me, you will still know yourself better than I will ever know you. So you need to trust yourself. If you suspect that something is up, then you need to have it investigated. So if you have a positive ANA and it's low, down at 1 to 140 or 1 to 180, you have no symptoms and you're super healthy. I don't know why anybody would be checking an ANA if that was the case. But if that was the case, then I would probably assume that you're one of those 1 in 3 that just has a positive ANA. If you're somebody with a lot of symptoms and getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia and your levels are higher than those, I would assume that's probably real, and you really need to look at the underlying cause of what's going on, whether it's your thyroid or potentially some other autoimmune disease potentially brewing. So Shirley, does Epstein-Barr virus cause autoimmune disorders? Well, there is a high link between various autoimmune disorders, certainly Hashimoto's and Graves', lupus, MS, with Epstein-Barr, and I write about that both in the autoimmune solution as well as the thyroid connection. There's something called molecular mimicry, and the structure of the Epstein-Barr virus looks very similar to our own body tissue, and so when our body goes to attack the virus, it can inadvertently attack the tissue. Also, sometimes when our body's attacking the virus, it inadvertently attacks the tissue surrounding it. So if you had Epstein-Barr, say, land in your thyroid, then it could destroy your thyroid in that way, or your joints, or whatever autoimmune it is. So since people are still joining us, I want to mention again that I want to appreciate everybody who has purchased the Thyroid Connection already, pre-ordered the book. Thank you so much. I also want to say, if you know anybody with thyroid dysfunction, please like and please share this video. It is my mission. Conventional medicine failed me. It is my mission to not have it fail you too. I want to reach as many people as possible. It is my passion. It is why I'm sitting here on my vacation doing a Facebook Live so that I can reach as many people as possible. This is an epidemic. We are not getting better at diagnosing thyroid. We are having more thyroid dysfunction. I doubt there's anybody on here who does not know one person, who doesn't know at least one person with thyroid dysfunction. So the more people we can reach, the better. So please share this with anybody that you think might have thyroid dysfunction or has been diagnosed with any type of thyroid dysfunction. The book, I just want to go over the difference between the autoimmune solution and the thyroid connection. This book is very much obviously geared towards the thyroid, very specifically. The plans are different than the autoimmune solution. This book is very much about how to work with your doctor. I have a letter in there to your doctor about what labs to get, how to interpret the labs. I have partnered with a lab, Your Labs for Life. What I want to mention, because we got a large amount of traffic when I mentioned that in the last Facebook Live, what I'd like to say is that they do not have my web page up quite yet, but if you go to their website, they do have the thyroid labs that I recommend. They're trying to work as quickly as possible because they got inundated with people wanting to go ahead and start ordering labs. So you can do that. Just my specific page is not up yet. We'll put that URL down in the comments. Please know that my clinic doesn't have anything to do with this lab company. So please don't call my clinic and ask to speak to my nurse or my staff regarding this lab company. So I've partnered with them only in the sense that I'm listing them as a place to go, and they're going to have a web page with my name on it. Certainly once you get your labs there, if that's what you choose to do, this is a place where you can prepay for your labs if your doctor refuses to order your labs for you. Obviously, your doctor ordering your labs is the best case scenario. If they don't, I did not want to write a book and not have any place for you guys to go to get these labs that I'm telling you to get. Like, makes no sense, right? So of course I found a place for you to get your labs. You order them online, and then you go to Quest. You pay out of pocket. It's very inexpensive to do that. And then you can take them back to your own doctor, or you can work with Liz, my wellness coach, to go over those with you. So, and one more thing before I start answering more questions is this week between now and Sunday night, Central Standard Time at midnight, I have partnered with Thrive Market, which is like Amazon and Whole Foods and Costco all in one. And if you buy your book from Barnes & Noble online, if you pre-order your book from Barnes & Noble this week then you will get a $20 gift card when you spend $50 or more at Thrive. You get free shipping. You get a free coconut aminos that I use in many of the recipes in the book. And you also get, if you are not already a Thrive member, you can get a free 1-month membership with them. So it's a bargain. And the book is costing, I think, $20.50 on Amazon right now. I mean, on Barnes & Noble right now. So make sure you get that. I'm going to take another sip of water, and then I'll answer some more questions. How long have we been on? We've been on for 30 minutes. So last time I went for an hour, so we'll see how it goes this time. All right, so it looks like we have lots more questions coming. So Sandy, what do we take for parasite? What herbs should we take? So, that's a very general question. I really can't offer very specific medical advice. However, in many of the articles that I write about parasites, and what I typically use in my clinic is something called Microbe X. And I mean, that's available on my website if you want to get that. It is a blend of herbs such as wormwood, golden seal, black walnut that help with, we use it for small bowel bacterial overgrowth sometimes. We use it for parasites. It can be used for candida. It's a really good, kind of catch-all herbal supplement that we use in the clinic. Robin, what are your thoughts on kelp supplements for iodine? I think that many of us are iodine deficient. It's one of the big things I talk about in my book that, hey, Jen Lowe, I'm seeing how to deal with candida. I can address that question too. So I am seeing that iodine deficiency is a huge reason for all the thyroid dysfunction that we're seeing these days. Partly we're not getting enough iodine, and then we have these halogens, or halides as they're called, that are very similar on the periodic table to iodine: chloride, fluoride, bromide, and we are bombarded with these throughout our environment, and they are displacing iodine in our thyroid. So kelp can be a good source of iodine. You just need to be careful about the source of the kelp. If you're getting it in an area that has a lot of, from Japan, the radiation is apparently coming down and stuff. So you just need to be careful with kelp and the source of where you're getting the kelp, but it can be a good source of iodine. Jen, how do I address candida? Well, I have an online program of how to address candida. I have tons of free articles about how to address candida. It's, of course, in the Thyroid Connection about how to address it. But first of all, you want to starve the yeast. So you want to go on a very low carb diet, and then you want to treat the yeast. And in my clinic, I use, for my patients, I use a prescription medication like diflucan or nystatin, one of the antifungals, but I also use herbs such as that Microbe X that I talked about. But more importantly, I use something called caprylic acid, which comes from coconut oil, or candesol, which is a digestive enzyme that digests the yeast cell wall. So it's kind of a two approach, a system, changing the diet and then using the supplements to treat the candida. And I have an entire online program that walks you through that step by step, how to do that. And my wellness coach can work with you as well. Okay, Jacqueline, my thyroid labs show that I'm not converting T4 to T3. Is there something other than hormone replacement that can help me with that conversion? That's a really great question. So I talk about this in the book, and that is probably the number one cause, besides Hashimoto's and Graves', that I see in my clinic for thyroid dysfunction, is not making that conversion. And it's why so many people go to their doctor, get told they had their thyroid checked and that their symptoms cannot be their thyroid. It's because their doctors are not even checking their free T3, which is the most active form of the thyroid hormone. So it is huge. This is a huge problem. And yes, there are a number of nutrients that we need in order to make this conversion. And of course, I talk about this in the Thyroid Connection, but you need certain nutrients like iodine and tyrosine to make your TSH and your thyroid hormone to begin with. But then you need zinc, you need selenium, you need B vitamins, you need vitamin A, you need vitamin D to kind of make this conversion, and then to get all of your thyroid hormone into the cell, into the receptor, which is where it then becomes active. So certainly, and I want you guys to know that I have formulated a multivitamin that is very specific, that has what I believe most everybody needs to keep their thyroid, to get them out of trouble with their thyroid, or to keep their thyroid running optimally. So that will be released right around the time of the book. And of course, I know people got a little overwhelmed in the autoimmune solution with all the supplements, so I really tried to streamline it in this book. I created a thyroid very specific multivitamin for people, and then I have you taking fish oils and probiotic, and then some vitamin D if you need it. You might need some extra vitamin D. And then, of course, in the book, like I did in the autoimmune solution, there are various tests and quizzes to see if you have adrenal dysfunction or adrenal fatigue, and you might need some support there. If you have a candida or small bowel bacterial overgrowth or parasites, and then, of course, there'd be different treatments for those. But I really tried to make it easy for you guys. My poor nephew just fell, so he's crying. But so I'm really trying to make it easy for you guys. And so hang on for that supplement. It will be released. And actually we have exciting news that you'll also soon, closer to the time, we'll have that on Amazon as well. So you can buy the book and the supplement together. Okay. What else do I have? Mariella, do you have a positive, have you had positive results with LDN for Hashimoto's, low dose naltrexone? So this is my approach with low dose naltrexone. My approach with low dose naltrexone is not to just start that right off the bat. My approach with low dose naltrexone is to follow the program and to get to the root cause. And if after you've done all that and you're not seeing anything budge, you can try low dose naltrexone. Low dose naltrexone comes from naltrexone, which is what we used to use, what I used to use in the ER when somebody came in for an overdose. We could have saved Prince's life if he had had some naltrexone. And basically, when you're having a heroin or an opiate overdose, you get a really big whopping dose. The way low dose naltrexone works is that it is hitting your receptors at night in a very teeny tiny dose, and it's supposed to modulate the immune system. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't had super great results with low dose naltrexone for any type of autoimmune disorder. I mean, I've really not had a lot of people come back and tell me that they've just had this life-altering event. You can get on lowdosenaltrexone.org, and of course you will hear all kinds of success stories. So I'm not saying that there aren't people out there having amazing success stories. I wish I was a doctor having them, because there are people having these amazing success stories. I personally haven't had those in my clinic, but I don't use it a lot because we typically, get to the root the other kind of way. But if you've done all the other things, and it's certainly something to give a try. I don't know any downsides besides just maybe disruptive sleep for some people with low dose naltrexone. Rich, I'm wondering if this is Rich from Austin. Can outdoor mold affect your health? I still see issues when we get tons of rain. Well, yes, it can, which is why I am in Bend, Oregon right now. And then we are going to Durango, Colorado, and then to Santa Fe. We are visiting high desert locations in order for me to escape the mold, and wonder about, potentially maybe one day getting out of Austin because of the mold. So yeah, Rich, I do think that it can probably, there's a mold allergy going on, or maybe even still some underlying candida. Potentially, there's a lot of, cross reactivity of the two. So I'm seeing Carrie, she did an all test, IgG and IgA, and she reacted to almost everything. Does that mean I have leaky gut? Well, first of all, these food sensitivity testing, the food sensitivity tests are very different. I don't use that particular one. So some of them, actually, let me back up and say, that would be a great thing, Carrie, for you to join my free online summit, October 24th through the 31st. I interview Dr. Ari Vogiani, who is the leading researcher in sort of food sensitivities and immune reactivity. He's the medical director at Cyrex. He owns another lab. I interviewed him on the autoimmune summit as well, but we talked very specifically about the thyroid this time. So he talks about the different types of food sensitivity testing. They're not all created the same. There are 4 subclasses of IgE. The foods that they use in there often aren't super purified. So when somebody's reacting to everything, I don't know if they do have a super leaky gut, which is certainly one of the things that I think about. Are they genuinely reacting to everything, or was it just not a great test? So those are the things to kind of think about. Deborah Lynn, TSH 2.35 on Armor, still tired. Well, Deborah Lynn, I like when you are on Armor, particularly, that should suppress your TSH. So your TSH should be between 1 and 2 or much lower. But I'd want to know what your free T3 and free T4 are doing. And there are two ways to test when you're on Armor. You can either do it before you take your medicine and see what you need, or you can take it and test it between 3 and 6 hours later when it's in your system. And some people who are on Armor, because T3, free T3 is very short acting, they need to dose it a couple times a day. I personally take Armor twice a day. I take my Synthroid once in the morning, and then I take my Armor once with that, and then my Armor again in the afternoon. So that might be something. Nancy Lynn, how do I deal with Candida die-off? Charcoal is a really great way. If you do I have some articles that probably have this in it. Certainly if you sign up and do our Candida program, we have a whole email series that talks about dealing with die-off. You can lower the dose, lower the frequency of whatever you're taking to kill it. You can take charcoal. You can work with Liz, my wellness coach. She can work with you very specifically as well. LK Lancaster takes Armor twice a day as well. That's awesome. So, how are we doing? I think that we're going to wrap up here soon, and seems like 3 o'clock is maybe a better time to do this. I don't think that we have quite as many people on, but we did this today at 6:30 Central Standard Time because I am on West Coast time and wanted to be able to go out on a hike today. So next week we are doing this again at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time because we will be away, unless you hear otherwise in the newsletter if we reassess things. But we want to be able to enjoy the days and go hiking. And then after that, we'll be back every week until the book is released, September 27th, and then every day the week of the book release at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. So Trish, you're so welcome. I'm not Sandra, talk about pooling. I'm not sure what that means. Is there LK Lancaster, is there any relation to taking T3 versus T4 and fertility? Well, I do talk about that in my book as well, but it's more looking at your levels. And I have certainly had plenty of women come to me at their wit's end and ready to go do fertility treatments, and we simply check a free T3. It was low, get them on some supplemental T3, and they end up getting pregnant. So there can be a very large correlation. Hey, Bob Garcia, that's Javier's brother. Nice to have you here. T3 pooling, Sandra, I still don't know what that is. So if you could be a little more specific. So before we wrap up here, Kristen, when you take Armor twice daily, do you just split the dose? Certainly if you're not working with your doctor and you want to give that a try, that is a way to try it for sure. You can just, if you take 1 grain, you can take 30 in the morning and 30 in the afternoon. Yep. Okay, so I want to recap a couple of things. One, you all know that I had Graves' disease and I had to have my thyroid ablated. I do not have a thyroid. I am destined to supplemental thyroid hormone for the rest of my life. It is why I get up every day and do what I do. It is my mission to not have conventional medicine fail you the way that it failed me. So please like this, share this, let anyone you know who thinks that they have a thyroid condition, has been told that they don't. They still may, and my book spends a lot of time talking about that. Anybody who you know has a thyroid condition, thyroid antibodies such as Hashimoto's or Graves', thyroid cancer, thyroid nodules, thyroid cysts, post-thyroidectomy from cancer, from an ablation like I had, or just general hypo and hyperthyroidism. So the book is for them. Please share this with anybody that you know. Remember that this week, if you pre-order your book through Barnes & Noble, you will get a $20 gift card off a purchase of $50 or more at Thrive Market. You also can get a free 1-month online membership with them, as well as free shipping and a free coconut aminos, which we write about in the book and use in several of the recipes. So it's definitely worth it if you're going to follow the program, because we recommend that coconut aminos, and you'll get a free bottle that will probably last you the whole 28 days or longer of the program. And then I want to remind everybody also that offer ends at Barnes & Noble at 12 Central Standard Time Sunday night, and it starts right now. And also want to remind everybody about the Thyroid Connection Summit that I have coming up October 24th through the 31st. Very similar to my autoimmune summit, but all geared towards the thyroid. So Oh, and Angeli bought her book on Amazon to give away, and I'm supposed to get an email with the bonuses. Yes, you are. So if you have a problem, my staff will tell you where exactly you can email if you didn't get your bonuses, but you should have gotten those. And the most important part that I forgot to tell everybody, if you buy 5 books or more, you automatically get entered into a drawing to win a trip to Austin, Texas, where we have an entire day planned. Everything is free. We have manicures at my favorite spa, Milk and Honey. We love Milk and Honey. Non-toxic manicures. We have dinner at Picnic, which is another one of my partners, does paleo AIP in the Myers Way. We have dinner at Trace. You get to meet my staff and clinic. We're going to take a walk around Town Lake. 5 lucky winners get that all paid for, and a reduced rate at a hotel, and 1 lucky winner gets everything paid for, their flight, their hotel, everything. And if you don't want to buy 5 books, you can still enter to win by submitting your story about why you want to win that trip, and we will let the winners know. And that's all happening, my staff will tell you, but I think it's like November 3rd. I have Javier here and I don't think he knows, but my staff is online, but I'm pretty sure it's November 3rd. It's a Friday when that's going to be happening. So, all right. So Sandra Weekly, wish you still had the pre-order deal on your website. I missed it. No, we have deals. So if you order anytime between now and September 27th, you get over $1,000 worth of free downloadable stuff. So it is all still there no matter when you do it. And then every week between now and the book, when I do these Facebook Lives, we're going to announce another special something that we're doing, and we're doing something different every single week. So those pre-order stuff is there, and you can enter to win the trip to come see me for free. All that is there all the time up until September 27th. And so again, yes, November 4th is the program. That's what my where do we order? You can order your book at any online retailer. You can get it off of iTunes if you want. You can get it off of BAM Books, off of Amazon, off of Barnes & Noble. But this week, the special is with Barnes & Noble only. So if you get it at Barnes & Noble, what you'll do is you'll buy your book at Barnes & Noble, pre-order it, so it won't be mailed to you until September 27th, but then you'll get, when you do that, you'll go back to my website, you'll put in your receipt number, and then you'll get an email with all the stuff from Thrive Market, as well as all the other $1,000 worth of free bonuses. So please, again, this is my best chance of reaching New York Times bestseller, and when that happens, we get more press, and that means that it will be in bookstores more front and center, and there will be more press and media, and that means the most important thing of all of this, which is that I can help more people. So Susie, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I thank you all for watching and listening, and this will be up on Facebook after this is over, and you can still like and share it with anybody that you think may have thyroid dysfunction. So sending you all lots of love, and thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much for all of your support, and sending you a big hug from Big Bend, Oregon. Do you want to say hi, honey? That wasn't it.
Hey guys.
Hey guys. Okay. So I don't know if the rest of the family wants to come out or not. I don't know. But anyway, so thanks everybody. See y'all soon. Take care. Bye.